Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios Name. Su Jie, 6 years. Old, remaining lifespan. 65 years. Soul imprints. 1. Unused. Su Jie looked at the panel emerging in front of him as a trace of helplessness appeared on his juvenile face. I have been in this world for 6 years, yet I have not encountered a creature with a high enough soul compatibility that allows me to implant a soul imprint. Su Jie sighed that Su Jie was not from this world, for he was a transmigrator. 6 years ago, he fell asleep worrying about his future after graduating from university. When he woke up, he found that he had come to this world where banditry is rampant and strength is might. He also became the young master of the Su family in Qingshui town of the great Xia dynasty. According to Su Jie's knowledge, this world contained fighters who could take on 100 enemies alone. On top of that, there were also mysterious Qi cultivators who lived in seclusion in the deep mountains, as well as demons who devoured people. Moreover, Su Jie realized that perhaps because he was a transmigrator, he had an innate ability that allowed him to sacrifice his lifespan to coalesce a soul imprint. This soul imprint could be implanted into other living beings, which would turn them into an avatar that he could freely order around. It sounded impressive, but it was not as simple as it sounded. Su Jie looked at a parrot in a birdcage in the room and put his consciousness into action. Soul compatibility. Low. Success rate of implanting a soul imprint. 5%. That was the message that appeared in Su Jie's mind. There were restrictions on implanting soul imprints. The higher the intelligence of the creature, the lower the success rate. For example, the parrot in front of him had a low soul compatibility with him, causing the success rate of planting a soul imprint to be a mere 5%. This was already considered a relatively high success rate. Su Jie had previously researched the possibility of planting soul imprints on other humans. Their soul compatibilities were all extremely low, and the success rate was as low as 0.01%. Su Jie reached a conclusion. His soul imprint had a success rate of almost 0% against humanoid creatures, while the success rate towards beasts was roughly a few percent. The success rate is too low. Only 5%. Additionally, coalescing a soul imprint will cost me 10 years of my lifespan. The price of failure is too high. Su Jie was at a loss for words. His innate ability was too useless. Coalescing a soul imprint would consume 10 years of his lifespan. Moreover, it did not seem to be of much use to implant a soul imprint on an animal. Therefore, in the past 6 years, he has not found a suitable target for him to officially see the effect of the soul imprint. Young master, master is back. Outside the door, a voice can be heard. It was the butler of the house of Su family, Lu Fu. In reality, there were only 3 people in Qingshui town's Su family. One was Su Jie, the other was Su Jie's father, Su Wu, and the last was the butler, Lu Fu. Father is back. Su Jie's eyes lit up slightly as he immediately went out to welcome him. In the Su family's residence, Lu Fu, an energetic man whose hair was graying, led a horse out to welcome a man nearing his 30s. The man was handsome and tall. He had a majestic aura around him. Su Wu was rather famous in Qingshui town. He was originally a constable under Qingshui town's government office. He was skilled in martial arts and has solved many major cases. Recently, he was transferred to a larger city and became a member of the Divine Constable Bureau. Father, did your trip go well? Su Jie went forward to welcome him. After becoming a constable of the Divine Constable Bureau, Su Wu often went out on missions. If the missions were short, he would take only 1 or 2 months. The longer missions, however, kept him away from home for as long as an entire year or so. Lu Fu was usually in charge of taking care of Su Jie. For this trip, Su Wu returned home relatively quickly. Well, it went quite smoothly. Su Wu smiled. Also, I will be on leave for some time, which means I will be free. At your age, you can officially start learning martial arts. That's great. Su Jie's eyes lit up as his heart was lit with passion upon hearing his father. As a transmigrator, he had spent more than 20 years peacefully in his previous life. Now that he was here in this world, he naturally wanted to experience a different life. He yearned to be like those powerful martial artists he had read about in books. He wanted to be like them, to take on 100 enemies alone and become a proper mighty fighter and governor of his own fiefdom. Therefore, Su Jie had always wanted to learn martial arts, but he was not old enough. Forcing himself to learn martial arts at a young age would only harm his foundation. It was not until Su Jie was 6 years old this year that Su Wu felt that it was time to teach him martial arts. Seeing Su Jie's excited look, Su Wu smiled, but a hint of disappointment flashed through his eyes. Unfortunately, Jie does not have a spiritual root. He can't cultivate and refine qi. There were not only martial artists in this world but also qi cultivators. There was a huge rift between martial artists and qi cultivators. The former, despite training for decades, might not be able to match up to qi cultivators who had just cultivated qi for a few years. Not only that, the difference in lifespan between martial artists and qi cultivators was huge. There were very few martial artists who could live for more than 100 years, yet powerful qi cultivators had lifespans several times that of martial artists. There were even powerful qi cultivators who could live for 1,000 years. If possible, Su Wu also wanted Su Jie to become a qi cultivator. He even used his connections to bring Su Jie to meet a qi cultivator so he could take Su Jie as his disciple. Unfortunately, after the qi cultivator's examination, it was found that Su Jie did not have any spiritual roots and therefore did not have the qualifications to become a qi cultivator. Therefore, Su Wu could only let Su Jie learn martial arts. That afternoon, in the Su family's residence, Su Wu looked at Su Jie solemnly. Jie, learning martial arts is not something that can be achieved in a short period of time. It's like sailing against the current. If you don't advance, you will fall behind. You need years or even decades to master it. You have to be mentally prepared. Father, I understand. Su Jie nodded vigorously. Of course he knew that, learning martial arts required one to start from a young age and accumulate experience through time and practice. It was impossible to become a top expert in a short period of time. The fist technique I'm cultivating is the Ape Demon King Kong fist. This fist technique is used to temper my body, train my strength, and cultivate my moves. When I cultivate it to a high level, I'll be like an ape demon. I'll have boundless strength and lightning-fast reactions. It won't be a problem for me to fight 10 people alone. Su Wu described to Su Jie the martial arts he was cultivating. This was a fist technique called the Ape Demon King Kong fist. Ape Demon moving mountains. Ape Demon striking drum. Ape Demon hugging tree. Su Wu practiced his fist technique in the courtyard. Every move was powerful and heavy. The wind that was swept up made the dust on the ground scatter. The ferocious aura made Su Jie, who was watching from the side, feel a little frightened. That it was as if Su Wu had transformed into a ferocious and violent ape demon. Ape Demon King Kong fist was divided into 3 levels. Once one reaches the first level, one could have 200 to 300 pounds of strength within one arm alone. It would not be a problem for him to defeat 3 or 4 adult burly men with his bare hands. The second level would bring a person 500 pounds worth of strength in one arm. After cultivating the Ape Demon King Kong fist to the third level, the cultivator would have 1,000 pounds worth of divine power in one arm alone. His strength would be akin to that of a galloping horse that was unstoppable. Impressive. No wonder Father became a constable under the Divine Constable Bureau. I wonder how many years it will take me to reach Father's level. Su Jie admired Su Wu and yearned to become as powerful as him. Start practicing with me. Su Wu then let Su Jie cultivate the Ape Demon King Kong fist with him. Su Jie's small body struggled to follow Su Wu's movements. Su Wu stopped from time to time to patiently correct and guide Su Jie. Jie's aptitude and comprehension are only average. 3 days passed in a flash. In the evening of the 3rd day, Su Wu looked at Su Jie, who was panting and extremely tired, but also visibly excited. He sighed secretly. Learning martial arts not only required hard work, but also talent. It was not an exaggeration to say that a martial artist's success depended on talent way more than hard work. If one was not talented, it would be difficult for them to become great even if they trained hard for decades. In the past 3 days, Su Wu had taken note of Su Jie's hard work. He had perseverance and could endure hardships. Even though his father hoped that his son would succeed, Su Wu knew very well that Su Jie's aptitude and comprehension could only be considered average. Some things can't be forced. Let nature take its course, Su Wu thought to himself. There are new changes in my attributes panel. Su Jie naturally did not know what Su Wu was thinking. He was excited because after cultivating the ape demon King Kong fist for 3 days, his attribute panel had changed. Name: Su Jie, 6 years old, remaining lifespan 65 years. Soul imprints 1. Unused, mastery of martial art. Ape demon King Kong fist, compatibility 5%. Cultivation progress 1%, entry level. More information about the ape demon King Kong fist appeared on Su Jie's panel. My compatibility with the ape demon King Kong fist is only 5%. Su Jie saw that because he had only cultivated for a few days, his cultivation progress was only 1%. He was only at the beginner level. However, his compatibility was only 5%. Su Jie guessed that the higher the compatibility, the higher the efficiency of cultivating this martial art. Could it be that my talent in martial arts is merely average? Su Jie thought to himself. If his martial arts talent was high, his compatibility with various martial arts should also be very high. Jie, you've already memorized the ape demon King Kong fist. From now on, you'll have to cultivate diligently every day. Su Wu said to Su Jie. Su Wu could only teach Su Jie this fist technique. How far he could cultivate it depended on Su Jie alone. Yes, I'll work hard to cultivate. Su Jie nodded vigorously. Being able to see the progress of his martial arts cultivation seemed to have no substantial meaning. However, this could actually give people the motivation to work harder. Many people were not afraid of hard work, but they were afraid that their hard work would be fruitless. It was very meaningful to be able to see how far they were from success. Half a month later, Su Wu's leave ended and he returned to the Divine Constable Bureau to work. Su Jie was already used to this and cultivated the ape demon King Kong fist diligently every day. The fact of the matter is that Su Jie really was not much of a martial arts genius. In the blink of an eye, a year has passed. Su Jie was already 7 years old. Mastery of martial art. Ape demon King Kong fist, compatibility 5%. Cultivation progress 18%, entry level. Su Jie ended his day of cultivation and wiped the sweat off his forehead. He opened his attribute panel and looked at his ape demon King Kong fist helplessly. I've been cultivating the ape demon King Kong fist for a year, but my cultivation progress has only reached 18%. At this rate, it will probably take me about 10 years to reach the first level. Su Jie was speechless. A sense of defeat and helplessness took hold in his heart. On the path of martial arts, one would only be able to achieve something after a few years or even decades. As for Su Jie's ape demon King Kong fist, although he trained hard every day, his progress only increased by less than 20% in a year. The first level of the ape demon King Kong fist was equivalent to a third-rate martial artist. The second level was comparable to a second-rate martial artist, and the third level was equivalent to a first-rate martial artist. Moreover, the further one progressed in martial arts, the harder it was to increase one's realm. According to Su Jie's progress, even if he practiced the ape demon King Kong fist from a young age, he might not be able to reach the third level. Might as well take a break and go for a walk. Su Jie collected himself. He took a shower and changed his clothes. There was still some time before dinner time. He decided to take a walk outside. As evening approached, the market in Qingshui town became quite lively. There were people coming in and out. The people who had been busy all day also had a moment of leisure. Are they selling pets here? Su Jie was visibly confused, but he couldn't help but stop in front of a stall. Jia saw that there were iron cages in this stall filled with all kinds of animals, including birds, cats, dogs, rabbits, foxes, and so on. In front of the stall sat a strong, middle-aged man. Jia's gaze swept across the animals. Suddenly, his gaze froze in front of a metal cage, and his heart skipped a beat. This iron cage was an ape with black fur. He subconsciously checked the soul compatibility between this ape and himself. Soul compatibility. High. Success rate of implanting a soul imprint. 49%. Su Jia's breathing quickened slightly. He saw that this ape had a high soul compatibility with him. The success rate of planting the soul imprint had even reached an astonishing 49%. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.